Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 1, Episode 7, The Serene Squall. This video is part of a series of videos where I review episodes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So I have to start with a spoiler warning for Strange New Worlds up to Season 1, Episode 7. If you have not seen this episode, you will not want to watch this video, otherwise some things will be spoiled for you. So, I think this is another letdown. Another lesser than episode. I was so impressed with the first 5 episodes, and if you saw my review of last week's episode, I thought that was a bit of a lesser quality than the first 5, and I would group this episode in the same category as last week's episode of being lesser than. Now that's not to say it's horrible or that I thought it was absolutely bad. I don't think Strange New Worlds has went there yet. In fact, if I had to put my feet to the fire, I'd probably say I prefer this week's episode to last week's, but still I find it a lesser installment than the first 5 because if you've seen my reviews of the first 5, I was super impressed with them, and I thought the show was amazing and that it couldn't do no wrong, and it was just putting out amazing episode after amazing episode. But the streak has ended, and I hope we get back to that streak. I hope they start another streak next week, because I had some issues with this week's episode. I think this week's episode could have been good. It had potential, but they kind of zigged when they should have zagged. They went in a different direction that I found cliche, and a B plot that was totally hokey, and I just made me cringe. So they encounter these pirates, and I was thinking, ooh, this could be a good episode, kind of like my favorite episode of the animated series, The Pirates of Orion. Sorry, I'm just fucking with you. The Pirates of Orion. And like that Enterprise episode, The Borderlands, where some of the crew got captured by the Orion pirates and put on the slave market, and there was auctions, and Archer had to pose as a wealthy individual to try to bid for these. That was good. That was good stuff. I was like, ooh, so this could be like a really fun cat and mouse kind of chase between ships. But here's the thing. When it turned out that it was just they were being deceived and they were being played all along, and they just fell right into the trap, and then they used goofy antics to get out of the trap, I don't like that. That's not what I wanted out of this episode. It's not what I want out of any storytelling. It relies on cliche, and honestly, it took a show that's been really has this really good, really strong characters, really strong stories, and fell back to what I think some of the worst episodes of Star Trek fell back to, the goofy subplot of the crew getting the underlings, the crew getting captured and getting fucked, but they use the underlings to stir up problems, to fight their commander or whatever, and stir up the underlings. This has been, I hate this. This has been done so many times. There's that crappy episode of Renaissance Man and Voyager is one of the worst examples. There was that crappy episode of Next Generation where the Ferengi fucking took over the Enterprise. Yeah, right, Ferengi take over the Enterprise. And there's more crappy episodes that I'm not even thinking of. And they didn't really even put any effort to it. They just made a joke about Pike being oh, Omega Beta Braga, whatever the fuck he called it, and they were like, oh yes, it's so easy to cause a mutiny. Yeah, it's easy if everyone around you are idiots. And that's the thing. This is what really bothered me, is that the entire episode, they were selling the Serene Squall as the top-notch pirates, that they really are the best pirates out there, and they really fuck with you, and they were, they really want to get to you, and they're impossible to defeat, and they're so intelligent, so clever, and sure enough, it turns out to be that way because the Enterprise falls directly for his trap. And it turned out to be a bunch of fucking morons who were like, oh, I can cook some food for this ship. And the way that Pike is so easily... I don't know. Pike actually... I'm a huge Pike fan. I'm a huge Anson Mount fan. If you know anything about me, you know that. But he came off as really goofy in this episode, the way he was just like, oh, I can make some food for the crew. It's just... It didn't seem... It made the situation they were in less serious and less... It really lowered the stakes for me that nothing really fucking mattered. Because it was all just a goofy thing and they're all turned up a bunch of... It took like a really great premise, like this battle of wits between these really hard to defeat, super smart, witty pirates and the Enterprise, and it turned it into a goofball bullshit thing. Like, I think the moment that and the fact that the Enterprise crew so easily fell into the trap, also bothered me. To me, that's not interesting storytelling. I would like to see a strategic battle of wits, not the Enterprise easily falls into a trap, so then they have to find a way to get out of captivity and retake the ship. That's not an interesting story to me, because really, once they're captured, it's like getting uncaptured and like retaking the ship is not really a realistic situation. So they have to rely on bullshit in order to get them to do it. And where's like all the like Enterprise crew? Like the pirates managed to like get all of them, and only Chapel and Spock were able to get away from them. Like, it's just, they took over the ship way too easy. It was, to me, it was reminiscent of the Ferengi taking over the Enterprise in that stupid Rascals episode, which was also total bullshit. I don't buy it, and I didn't buy it in this episode, especially when this pirates turned out to be a bunch of fucking morons. Like, it just happened easily because the plot required it to happen, and that really bothers me. But the fact that the counselor or whatever turned out to be evil and one of the pirates was kind of like, I saw that coming. Like, that was pretty fucking obvious. And when they revealed it, I was like, oh, God damn it, and she turned into it, like started twirling her mustache as soon as she revealed she was actually one of the pirates. And it was an interesting dynamic they were setting up before, where she had this tragic backstory and there was colonists and that they were trying to save, but it turns out no, she was lying and the colonists are bullshit. Like, how did she get away with this? Like, how... Why didn't any of the crew were able to check her credentials or verify her story that there were pirates? And let me talk about this non-Federation space. Isn't the whole of all of Star Trek about ships going into non-Federation space? Because they can't just be exploring the Federation. You can't explore your own territory. And then the whole show where they encounter all these aliens they've never heard of and never seen, that's not happening in Federation space. So what's this bullshit about, oh, we need permission to leave Federation space? Why the fuck would you're the Enterprise. Your whole mission is to leave Federation space. Like, I don't get that. That bothered me. That annoyed me. That doesn't make any sense. I don't like whoever writes this episode. I don't think they understood Star Trek. Although they understood like the stupid cliches that we see in Star Trek all the time. Now, as I said, I didn't think this episode totally sucked. And I did kind of like it a bit better than last week's. Now, it's because I did like the character story with Spock. That did work for me, and his interactions with who we find out is Angel, Captain Angel, and how she kind of kept fucking with him. And she did seem to know a lot about Vulcans and was using that against him. And it turns out it's because she was the lover of Cybok. And you know what? I actually like that they mentioned Cybok, because this is the first time that Cybok has ever appeared in anything canonical other than Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. Now, I understand the impulse to not reference that movie because that movie was a giant dumpster fire wrapped in shit, floating in the nonsense territory, wrapped in a bullcrap sauce. But it is canon, as much as the movie sucks or not, and that's something a lot of, and I think this is probably because of a lot of fans when they watched Discovery and mentioned Spock had a sister. They're like, well, what about his half brother? Like, and also like, how many secret siblings does Spock have? So I'm glad, and it was kind of, and the whole time Cybok was never referenced when Spock and Burnham were reliving their childhoods. But, I think they actually did make it clear in The Final Frontier that Spock and Cybok were not raised together. Yeah, so I actually like that they mentioned Cybok, and it looks like this is a tease to see him in the future, which I'm looking forward to. I actually think that would be a great idea, and I think the actress who played Captain Angel did a good job of it. As I said, once she turned evil or revealed herself to be evil, she started twirling her mustache. But other than that, I like how she was playing all the mind games with Spock. And also, how the fuck did Pike take over that ship so fucking easily and started immune? And like, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. That's so dumb. But yes, I did like the sort of, the thing with him kissing Chapel I don't know. It did make sense, and it worked for the story, and I did like the relationship building they did with T'Pring, and they actually brought her job into the storyline, that her dealing with criminals, and this was specifically why they wanted the Enterprise was for Spock to do that, to do the trade. And of course, like any good evil mustache twirly villain, she has her escape plan and gets away so that she can come back, just like the Joker breaks out of prison tons of times. Actually, every Batman villain does, because they need to come back. But yeah, it was good up until the pirates took over the ship, and that's when the story went downhill. But even then, like, I was excited for this, but I actually wanted, like, the battle voice. I wanted Spock to retake engineering. When they revealed what's-her-face to be the villain, I'm just like, and it defeated them really easily. I don't know. That kind of deflated this thing for me. So this is kind of like, could have been good, but wasn't. So my rating for the Serene Squall out of 10, I'm going to be really, really generous and give this a 6. Good. Because it was good for the first half. And even in the second half, there are some things I liked. I still was excited about the Spock Gambit, and I do like the reveal of Cybok. Yeah. That B-plot with Pike, I thought, totally sucked. Anyway, that is it for my review of Strange New Worlds Season 1, Episode 7. Hopefully we'll get back to this quality of the first 5 with next week's episode. Let's really hope. Anyway, be sure to check out my channel as I continue to cover Strange New Worlds and cover all sorts of other Star Trek, as well as other shows such as The Expanse, Star Wars Rebels, and more, so be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that, and thanks a lot for watching.